Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Jerry, and we're going to be giving you guys some tips and tricks on how to play the game Wall World, especially with the new DLC coming out. I'm going to give you guys a couple little things that you can learn to do, just some tips that I figured out throughout the world. Let's just jump right into it, and that leads us to our first tip. Is that there's a bunch of these. These we're not going to focus much on because these are all DLC upgrades. And the upgrades are as follows: outer shell, resource vacuum, the plasma drill, the rocket launcher, the hook, the masking plates, the turbines, and the engine. And there's different orders you can pick these in. Realistically, they're all dependent on which blueprints you guys find early. So hopefully you can get lucky. I like to prioritize the engine because the base spider speed is so slow. It's unbearable. The next ones I would probably get. Hook you can pretty much leave off. Hook and turbines you can leave off unless you're really like cheesing for something. Resource vacuums are pretty good. I think 6 is a DLC locked one. I think it goes to 5 on base. Outer shell's good, but realistically with how you're playing you shouldn't be taking a lot of hits. So realistically my recommendations would be beeline engines. Get as many masking plates as you can because it increases the intervals between waves. Maybe have one into plasma drill, max it out later, but you want to focus on the rocket launcher. The rocket launcher is super good, and there's also the secret store over here, and that's going to give you seismic gen's cool. Depth scanner's really nice. I always forget to hit Q though, so it's not really great for me. The force field's okay. The induction amplifier is really nice. Armor claws is just okay in the base game. Combat capacity good, but this unit right here, this torpedo drilling unit, this is the main one. Ideally, if you have this thing upgraded enough, you're not even going to be touching like the mines in general. But realistically, under these ones are all of these here are definitely locked behind finding things in base game. I'll even show you around on the regular one here while we go through this. I'm going to show you guys exactly how you're supposed to mine it, just because this is a simple trick that I figured out throughout playing Wall World, and I think that a lot of people don't really realize this, especially in base game. You have 2 different directions. You can go up, you can go down. There's an achievement for both. That is what this looks like combined with that. We'll hit Q, that's the depth scanner. We've seen that this is a medium mine. Don't let this fool you. A medium mine is actually super fucking large. There's one anomaly, that's important. There's 50 resources. This is what our base stuff is. As you might notice here at the in-stock with the backpack, that was added with the DLC. Basically you can start with 10% of your resources. And you'll notice that whenever you're playing a normal run, after you beat the game for the first time, you're going to go ahead and just go... Basically, you're going to go ahead and just run an endless run, which is very easy to show you guys some of these concepts on. Which, the one concept of how to mine is you notice that I always am beelining it right. And the reason we beeline it right is because normally rooms can spawn at the end of a mine. I think the volume is a little crazy high. Yeah, this volume is crazy high. Let's turn that down a little bit. There we go. This is the induction amplifier. When this chain is up here, you know that you have more speed and stuff. That's a turret replicator. A lot of these here, this brings us to another tip here. A lot of upgrades you're going to get are actually going to be like completely not viable. And like that's okay, but you just have to realize that you're not running a viable thing. Especially when you start out super early. Like, because we have all this stuff, we can just go ahead and start getting early upgrades. But that's only because we've played the DLC. So we'll go down first. And a lot of the things that you can do, I didn't do it here, but you can spam R as you're moving down the mines. You'll see how fast we're moving now. We just destroyed a bunch of stuff. And like you're gonna die. Like you're not gonna. You look at someone's map and see we're gonna go straight beeline it right. This is a weapon. When beast game, you're gonna hope for a couple weapons. You're gonna hope for stake thrower is one of them. Stake thrower is an incredibly good weapon, but only if you have it upgraded. I would say the best weapon in the game, honestly, is the grenade launcher. If you can get the Bomb King perk, you've basically won the entire run. It does not matter what upgrades you have. Don't be afraid to pivot. If you get an exceptionally strong weapon, such as some of the tier 2s and 3s, like I know one of the tier 3s is a laser machine gun. Even though it's a laser machine gun compared to your normal one, it's still the machine gun. It's still kind of garbage. It's not a very good weapon. It's not a very fun weapon to play with either. As you can see, we weren't paying attention to the little purple bar here. That's an enemy. And that song denotes that. Then we'll enemy wave. Overdrive is fine. An interesting quality of life feature they added was the control button. If you hold down control on the keyboard, you can go open a radio menu to find it. Otherwise, you would have to press Z and X. So we'll just show everyone what the stake thrower looks like. It's not super great, but when you charge it up, you get this little reticle, and here's something interesting about it. What goes up must come down in this game, as you can see there. Both of them just left. But that's what we're gonna go with on that one. Each different biomes have different resources. When you see the little green areas, that's when you know that these guys are gonna appear. It's looking like this is a area with no secret room. The base game's pretty notorious for this. Because the DLC is about half the map, you'll get secret rooms at a much faster rate. So let's go ahead and we'll just max out the drill so everyone can see what a full drill looks like. We're not going to use these ones because of the minus 20% drilling efficiency. It's just not worth it. I don't see the reason for it. So we're going to be careful in using tip number 3 for just hitting R, because R connects you to a mine. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, the R appears when within like significant range of each other. Okay. At the edge of every map, you will go ahead and see these cloud barriers. These cloud barriers denote what can and cannot be used. We'll just go ahead and hit the little guys here with that stuff. And we will see what's going on. Stake thrower is pretty intensely powerful, especially if you get it early on. I really don't... I don't want to say I don't like this weapon. I just think there's better weapons to replace it. Like, it's definitely a weapon we're going to swap out. So as you can see, you get that you can enter the mine right about here. You get about a couple feet of distance right here. You can just hit R while you're going and it'll just seamlessly bring you down anyway. And that way you don't waste any time getting to the next area. This is what like a full drill looks like pretty much. These boxes are important. These are going to be weapon upgrades, like the smaller stakes. 20% drawing speed, minus 15% stake size. That's fine. This actually leads us into one of our other tips. Even if you get a bunch of upgrades for a weapon you do not like, you are not forced into using it. Honestly, in earlier runs, when you first start a game, you're gonna die. You're gonna die a lot, and these upgrades kind of do not matter. Like, you can literally just run the whole game without a care in the world. And as you go lower, you're gonna go and find more different resources. So like this is a special one, small 141. But because we have the drill so strong, this isn't meant to be like, oh hey, I'm showing you guys. I'm just showcasing a little bit of things you can do. Like, look here. This, if you see a long tunnel about 3 wide, you know you're gonna find another thing. Bomb thrower. This thing is S tier. Honestly, I was gonna put a whole video about the pulse gun, and then Alawar Premium basically just destroyed the pulse gun and said, hey, This thing is way too overpowered, and it was truly overpowered. If you were playing the DLC, that's where you have the time limit and a bunch of other stuff, and I'm glad that the DLC introduces these things. But here, I'm going to show you guys Bomb Thrower. Bomb Thrower, another important thing is you'll hit F to look at your upgrades. Never upgrade the machine gun. And that's not me being like a giant meme. The machine gun is literally so bad that even if you grab 3 of these upgrade boxes and it gives you these, no respectable digger is going to be using a machine gun. It's just a bad weapon. I don't even really use the turret replicator. I don't even really use the build function in this game, just because I find that it's not really needed. But here, we'll go ahead and we'll pump some of these in here, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Alright, if we can go up, going up isn't really that bad. Going down isn't really that bad either. So when you first start, you'll have 20 minutes. You're not going to have a whole bunch of time to do all this stuff that I'm showing you. When you hear that noise, make sure you are also watching the... Now this thing fires in an arc, so you have to know, but it's got crazy AoE effects. Like, look at that. That is insane. It basically kills everything in its path for you. If somehow you lose while using this, it's actually probably your fault. Go in here. I'm not going to hit Q. I'm lazy. I know that about myself. But your biggest priority in the first stage is you want to be collecting as many green nodes as you can. These little green nodes are part of the repair system, and that's the minerals you're going to use to repair your ride. This is still pretty loud. We're going to cut it to about here, that's fine. There's another little trick you can do, which I'm not sure if it really saves time. If you have a lot of resources like I do currently on the ground, you'll notice you can't pick them up. Number 4 is you can go ahead and you can juggle these. Like, look at this. You can go ahead and you can juggle everything towards the front, because once you go ahead and you go deposit your minerals, you'll just be able to easily run it back. Obviously, I don't care. I'm going to just grab this and we're going to call it even. We're even going to call it good. So we'll go here and we'll see what we got. The biggest one for the anomalies you want to see, the mine will say that you have 1 anomaly. There is currently an issue, and I don't know if Alawar is going to keep calling it like a feature or an issue, but whenever there's a weapon in the cave and an anomaly, it'll say 2 anomalies, but whenever you grab both of them, it'll still say there's 1 anomaly due to the monument inside the weapon chamber. So don't let that fool you. Even though there's no anomalies here, it can say 1 anomaly when there's really none. We'll go ahead and go down. We'll hit that, and that's what the R trick looks like. Basically, we got a head, and we got 1 here. Nothing. There's gonna be nothing in this thing. We're not actually gonna go ahead and milk this. We're gonna go ahead and just start the fight right up again. If you need a breather, go ahead and hit F. But here's what I'm talking about with the Robo Spider health. This green thing here, it'll repair 15%, unlimited usage. Same thing with these efficiency repairs. You'll get plus 5%, another plus 5, and another plus 5. You can basically get a plus 30% for on your repairs, but you need a ton of stuff, and this is really only useful in the endless runs. By the way, this is really only intended for beginners, as most veterans will have already known this. Like, certain weapons are just better. Like I'm not going to go around and sugarcoat it and say, yeah, you can use the machine gun if you want. It is important to have fun. If you're just starting, however, I would really recommend not using the machine gun. A machine gun only run's really not that fun, and is actually more just tedious and taxing on your mental sanity than anything else, especially if you're running the slow spider. There are also different enemy types, as you've noticed as us going on the wall. We're going to trigger, see this cloud barrier? We will trigger a kind of pseudo wave right here. And I believe it still resets the timer. So we'll just jump down it. Because we have the drone system, it'll just kind of go ahead and keep firing off of these other enemies. And this is the bomb thrower is our main bread and butter. That's what we're using. I'm not going to be showcasing number 4 here just because number 4 is the weapon meant to go take down the Leviathan. Another easy thing that you can do is during a boss fight, you can go ahead and start prepping the other mines, because whenever you lock in here, that's when the mines will go ahead and say, okay, he's here. And finding these, going right and finding these is sweet. Look at this jet engine, 40% bomb airspeed. Big upgrades can be found just by beelining it straight to the right. So let's get going. Let us continue. I know this was really meant to just be background filter. I want you to really understand the concept of a roguelike game, because at its core, this is a roguelike game. You are going to die. Your first runs, they're not going to look as good as or as smooth as this. You're not even going to make it to these biomes first. And the point of this is the game is trying to teach you you're going to die. You're going to die over and over and over again. To the point where you might be questioning, am I actually getting good? You're learning. As long as you take something away from this, you'll be learning. And that's the biggest takeaway that someone can actually have, especially for a top 10 like tips and tricks video to get you going to where you need to go. And it's easy to just, like, time management is a big skill, and that's just something you're gonna get by playing the game. You'll start to get, once you get a feel for how things work and how certain things run, you'll understand. Like, this isn't a comprehensive guide, because there's a lot of stuff I'd like the viewer to go find. Go ahead, we'll overdrive, increase our speed. Let's just go ahead and we will launch. Like, you'll start to get a timing, the feel for how and long an enemy wave is supposed to be, depending on what biome you're in. It's just kind of game sense that you won't actually have your first couple of runs playing. It's a lot to be said between watching it and actually playing the game for yourself, because then you'll know how you should react. That doesn't necessarily dictate that's how you're going to. And that even happens for like veteran wall world players like Wanderbots or even Sift or myself. We all just kind of get used to doing things our own way. And you're going to get used to doing things your own way as well. I just want you to have a little bit more, or things that I wish that I knew going into this game. Like, if someone said, this little thing up here, this sucks to grind out. I will not lie to you. This sucks to grind at first. The DLC made it a hell of a lot easier. But before then, there's really no reason to be trying to grind this out unless you really want what you like, all these permanent upgrades. And even then, there's like, not everyone's going to agree with the order. A lot of people put masking plates up high. I think if you actually learn the combat, masking plates can pretty much wait. Sure, the extra 15 seconds between waves is nice. It's not as helpful as like actually getting into the waves. Like getting into the mine. If you got like that torpedo driller, you're gonna go crazy. This is probably a large mine just by estimating how we're going here. But look at that. Hugging the right, you're gonna find your stuff. We got the radar detection array, 5% chance to get a resource from empty blocks. Not much, it's nice. Now, I should also probably talk to you about what the resources are. These little blue things. Okay, so we're going to take a minute here. We're going to get back to the spider. And I'm going to go over what some of these basic tips basically essentially mean for you. And why going down you might notice something on our thing. Especially when we're talking about the repairs. When I talk about the repairs, you'll see this on the left. You see the blue ones that we currently have on the right. Blue, for all you need to know, these are all just resources. These resources you have here, they are going to make you so much better. And these dark blue ones, basically the blues are when you go down, except for the crimson X's. Those crimson X's, those are actually going to be right in the bottom area. And these the more bluish type things, like the purple, the dark blue, and the light blue ones here, those are specifically for when you're going up. And both these, depending on which way you go, you can use both the pink crystals, and you can use these pink crystals and these blue circles. Oh, these are healing. These also work for healing. And they restore 30% instead of the regular 15. So with another extra 15 on that, you guys get 45% from these. These are a little harder to come by though, that's why they cost less. And you also have to unlock the bio repair and the ceramic crystal research. And the biggest thing here is you should also be spamming R just to be getting things that you might miss. Because there are a lot of things that you can miss. Oh, I guess there is one last tip, and here's the last tip and tricks that you're going to learn. There is something to be said for going down, there's something to be said for going up. I would pick one. Your first, especially your first couple of runs, do not be going around looking for going straight up or down. Go pick one. Pick down or pick up. Especially if you have a very strong weapon. Once you get down here, these things are going to be worth so many more stars than the other ones. And that's very important to getting your... basically getting your upgrades and getting to be able to play where you can go down and then go. Because eventually, you're going to pick up these 5 little green things down here. That's how you actually win. I'm not going to tell you where they are, but they are hidden in each side area. They're hidden in all the biomes. You have to go find them. I think there's a couple in each area, so eventually you will have to go find it, and the only way to find it is by searching all over. And that's how you unlock endless mode, which is what we have here. But I think the biggest tip, and this is going to sound really cliche and bullshit, but the real thing is just go have fun with the game. It's a great game. You can lose yourself for hours, and it's for $8. It's worth picking up. And if you have noticed here, I guess you don't notice because we moved the green screen up, but we have moved offices. Expect more videos to come. I just wanted to pump this one out so that way people that were playing it, especially with the new DLC, could find some help. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.